fight, but you gotta let punches go. That's right. You can't wait until they get in your mess and fight and go right back. And don't take 30 seconds to be fought out of time. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody wrong. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dippy. They're doing like I'm Lego. They're doing the Comanche. I'm Thousand backwards. My defense is impregnable. I kept telling you, no bus. He couldn't hit. He's playing artistic. He's missing. Let me see your bus. I haven't started dancing yet. Like the wind is hurt. Sensational first down and Burns gets hurt. Burns got blood. Paco is sent early in the round. Great first round. Incredible. Perhaps one of the best in middleweight history. Hey, that black guy, he hit. Bang, 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 bang. Fire.
What's going on, my boxing public? Welcome to another episode, Hands of Fire Boxing Talk. I'm your host, writer and reporter for RealCombatMedia.com, George Dampier. And yeah, would you look at that? 2 episodes in 2 weeks. That's right. Kind of getting back into full effect again, back into podcasting regularly. I promise we'll try to make this a regular thing again. Of course, after that long hiatus again, which we don't need to revisit that. I mean, that's what the whole point of this being recorded is, so you guys can look back and still look at the old conversations, because we're not going to talk about that at this point. Today, obviously, as you can see in the title for the podcast, is a review of the Manny Pacquiao and Adrian Broner pay-per-view fight for free if you were in the UK, or free if you happen to have a Fire Stick like I do, and also to get a Universal channels, so you didn't have to pay for that motherfucker, thankfully. As far as for anyone who did pay for it, I'm not going to besmirch anyone who did. I always appreciate anybody who can contribute to the sport, so good on them for doing that. Whether or not it was worth it, I'll leave anyone who actually paid for that for them to decide. I enjoyed the evening for what it was. You know, again, a free event. Undercard wasn't really too impressive. And even the main fight that people were really excited about was the Marcus Brown and Badu Jack fight. That was the co-main feature for the fight, and even that unfortunately had an well, yeah, I mean, it was, unfortunately just had to get stopped earlier to a just vicious cut that was on Badu Jack's forehead. I mean, literally, you could put a $50 right into that thing like a coin slot. It was that fucking big. Pretty scary too, considering how much blood was coming out of that thing. My God, I mean, there's portions of the fight where he's actually just sitting there, just wiping blood from his face over and over and over again. Not like just like, all right, blood out of my eye. All right, let me get back in the fight. It's like, oh shit, man, it's like mad blood in my face. Like, oh wow, it's like all over my face. Like it's almost like he's trying to wash his face in the middle of the fucking fight. And even like Marcus Brown, even was being considerate enough to even let him actually do it. And he was like, holy shit, you're fucked up. But yeah, and even Marcus Brown, to the actual fight itself was surprising. I had Badu Jack, at least picked Badu Jack to win that fight, and definitely did surprise me. In the fact that he just really had nothing outside of really just stalking him down. That was pretty much all he had. Other than, Marcus Brown obviously was just boxing circles around him. Not, I wouldn't say to the extent like a masterful boxer. There's a lot of holding in there too, bigger guys usually do call that. Even Tony Weeks had I believe he actually even took a point for Marcus Brown for the excessive holding. And it got, pretty ugly in there. But pretty much everything that Marcus Brown needed to do to win the fight, he did. It was kind of like almost like a Bernard Hopkins-esque type of performance, really. But you just got to say that division really is really shaping up for some really good fights down the line. Best of luck to Body Jack though too, because that cut was pretty nasty. But overall, though, it's not to say that the cut was really the main reason he lost the fight. He was getting outworked. So um, to the point where, well, at least what's next for Body Jack, he looked really old in there, really slow. Um, I mean, when you're in the heavier weight classes, you can kind of afford, age doesn't necessarily show too much. But he may want to try to find a way to fit into his particular style. At least, or at least try to find a way how he may want to age that particular style. Because with upper echelons, especially in this division, you got to come a little bit more than just come forward and maul you up. Um, but outside of that, the fight, at least the main fight that brought everyone to the building, Manny Pacquiao, really I feel like is the only one who really seems to have brought the main crowd. That whole Las Vegas MGM, or is it AT&T or T-Mobile, T something, whatever. Damn. There's a that I mean, pretty much that whole building though was all for Manny Pacquiao, and you couldn't really expect anything less, really, considering how much of a hallmark really the MGM in Las Vegas really has been for Manny Pacquiao in his whole career. Just think about all of those memorable fights that took place. So it was almost a given, really, for him to be the hometown favorite. Adrian Broner, who's naturally dislikable, was the ire of attention. Everyone really looking over. I mean, just an easily booable figure, really. It just seems like as soon as he came in, mixed should I say, reactions to his entrance. He decided to not really pick one set song, but a whole mix up, and then some really sleazy rapper to or at least do his ring walk. That was pretty much pretty much the best outing he made the entire night. Was really his ring walk. That was the only thing really impressive for some. But of course, once it got into the ring, Manny Pacquiao, of course, with his Eye of the Tiger. If you guys were seeking any more detail on the ring entrance, really nothing grandiose really about Manny Pacquiao. He's been actually a rather corny and rye bread when it comes to his ring entrance. It does not really give a shit. I remember the time he actually came out to his own song, God, that was really embarrassing. Rough. Anyway, to the fight. And actually, before we get into the fight, what the fuck with the national anthem? How did anyone let that woman continue to keep going with at least the American national anthem there? That was just, that was almost a parody of someone singing the national anthem. That's what it felt like. I actually fell asleep a little bit just leading up, because the fight damn near almost took almost 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. It almost seemed like to really get started. But I literally was woken up just because I kept hearing all of these weird drops and tones because of that damn national anthem. That was laughable. And it always seems to be, with these major events with Showtime, man. There's always one random weird gaffe, I swear. But anyway, again, to the fight. I bring up the fight as if there's something really to anticipate, but when it comes down to it, we really got exactly everything we expected. Manny Pacquiao actually did look to he did still look to be a bit more aggressive than he typically does, especially at his age. He's at least since at least post Juan Manuel Marquez 4. He's always been cautious, but seemed to really be on the gas in the beginning of the fight, really. Adrian Broner, seemed to again, just seemed to look for pop shots. Then there was actually a few times I would say maybe in the middle of the round, or at least the mid fight really, where he would actually start to throw something and actually would gain Manny's respect. It was at that point in time, Manny actually kind of was a little bit more disciplined going forward. But he still, had the head feints, still off balance as all fuck, like really off balance. And it usually shows up a lot more with your really fundamental sound fighters, while, Broner wasn't necessarily, doing all that much to concern Manny Pacquiao. His movements that, did still expose that at some point, where it just those really bad, awkward, like almost foot stumbles, really, that Manny would have at times with he's trying to set up his punches. But I mean, he still landed them. He still actually even at times looked a lot faster than Broner. I mean, which just really goes to show that almost at least highlights the point I was going over last week about proving, or at least previewing this fight, was how to expect Broner coming in. And I had heard countless times from people who were close to the camps of Adrian Broner that he was really he only trained to lose weight, only for appearance. He was only coming in to collect the check, and he was going to put a very mundane performance in, and that would be it. And I mean, in considering what you saw that night, the inactivity is almost due to that reason, is because he's almost just spent and having just a difficult time even just dealing with the incoming punches, which Manny did at least pretty effectively in the beginning too. Again, it was a little bit more open for Adrian Broner in the middle to late rounds, but once he got caught again, once the fight kind of wore on both fighters really, a little bit toward the end, just out of just the exhaustion of the fight, not necessarily pain intake or anything like that. Manny was able to land actually a pretty sweet shot on Broner, made him buckle a little bit, and always credits to Broner. We can always shit on him for all his antics and everything like that, but he's always had a rock solid chin, at least a damn pretty sturdy chin, considering all the shit he talks, and the beatings he's taken because of the shit he talks. He took a pretty damn good grandstand at that point in time. It was again buckled, took another fury of punches, still withheld the at least the oncoming attack that was coming, and was able to see out the round. Didn't do much the next round, and then lost the 12th again. I think that was actually almost a shutout. That 12th round was wow. I mean, you talk about a guy who, and this goes at least to the end of the fight, but as someone who really thought they won the fight, you don't close out a damn 12th round like that. But yeah, no knockdowns, really. So nothing at least to take away from there. But overall, and of course, at least with hopefully my description of the fight did at least or lead you to what you may have known now, that Manny Pacquiao had won off of unanimous decision. Again, pretty handedly. At the end, Adrian Broner was pretty adamant for some odd fucking reason that he was winning the fight. I don't know which ones. I mean, I would love to do some film with the man and just see exactly what the fuck he's talking about. But neither here nor there. It's whatever. And honestly, I feel like first time I was seeing those videos, because as soon as actually the fight was announced that Manny Pacquiao won, I actually just turned the TV off and went right to bed because I had work right first thing in the morning. And like I said, I stayed up pretty fucking late just to watch that. And I ended up taking a look the next morning to see some of the reactions. Obviously, I was saying that he was for some reason thinking he won. And even when I watched his interview with Jim Gray, who of course continues to have the worst fucking interviews in sports history with just about everybody, where he's adamant that he won. He said he beat, did all this shit for the hood. I mean, I kind of felt like it was more antics than anything. But as I'm watching, I'm thinking, nah, he doesn't really believe this. Nah, it's just kind of just a way for him to save grace. I'm still keeping the thoughts of, you only train to lose weight. You're just showing up to collect a check. And now you're making a, false flag here into, really covering up what you really know. You ain't really, do shit. You did nothing to win for this fight, or at least prepare for this fight to even win it in the first fucking place, but to mask what would have been a critique of what he ended up showing up as. He's now just saying that, so that's now what we're talking about rather than how he actually performed. And once again, the hands being right in his pockets. There's another reason, and I don't know what it is. I think it's not to say that he's afraid to take punches, because obviously he can, and he can take a really good one at that. His defense is obviously is what's vulnerable for him, and I think that's why that's what immediately lost the Mayweather effect, is because while he can still do the Philly shell stance and everything like that and talk the shit and wear the fashy clothes and the little skirt and all that shit, the pom-poms and the fucking puffy hoodies and all this shit, he's nowhere near even just fundamentally defensively sound at all. He can easily be hit, and once you're found, you ain't got nowhere to hide. But the funny thing is obviously coming out of this is you're thinking, because for both fighters, obviously you're thinking, what's next for both. The buildup really for this fight that they were making for both is that it's make or break for both. And in a sense, you can say that. But I don't think that's necessarily true in this sense, at least for the case for or Broner, should I say. Manny Pacquiao, now that he's won, it's been no secret with you guys. I've always told you, as big as a Pacquiao fan I am, I'm also very much a realist. And